In the icy waters of the Russian Far East, a group of fishermen was making its routine catch when they noticed something unusual in the distance. At first glance, it appeared to be a floating log bobbing up and down against the powerful waves. But as they moved closer, the fishermen realized it was a polar bear, struggling against the currents with visible signs of exhaustion. The animal was caught in an ice floe trap, unable to climb back onto the ice and too fatigued to swim much further. The fishermen were taken aback by the sight, as encountering a polar bear this far out in the open ocean was rare. They realized the bear's situation was dire. It would not survive without immediate intervention. Acting quickly but cautiously, they approached the animal, ensuring their boat stayed steady in the turbulent waters while devising a plan to help without putting themselves or the bear in danger. Rescuing a wild animal as large and powerful as a polar bear posed an immense challenge. The fishermen had to balance their desire to save the bear with the reality of its unpredictable behavior. A frightened or desperate bear could easily turn aggressive. Using ropes and poles, the fishermen carefully attempted to guide the bear closer to their boat. They communicated in hushed tones, aware that sudden noises might further alarm the struggling animal. After several tense minutes, the bear seemed to recognize their intentions and allowed itself to be maneuvered. The fishermen fashioned a makeshift ramp using a plank from their supplies, providing the bear with a way to climb onto the ice. With great effort, the bear finally managed to haul itself out of the freezing water. As it stood on the ice, panting and soaked, it briefly glanced back at its rescuers before retreating into the Arctic wilderness. The fishermen were left in awe of the encounter. Saving the bear had been a test of both ingenuity and courage, and it underscored the delicate balance of life in the Arctic. The incident prompted conversations among the crew about the challenges faced by polar bears due to shrinking ice habitats caused by climate change. The story quickly spread beyond the local community, thanks to one fisherman who captured part of the rescue on his phone. Social media amplified the tale, turning the fishermen into local heroes and sparking widespread admiration for their bravery. Their actions highlighted the critical role humans can play in preserving wildlife, even in the most unlikely circumstances. The rescue became more than just an isolated event. It symbolized the vulnerability of polar bears in the modern era. Environmental organizations took note of the story, using it as an example to advocate for stricter measures to protect Arctic habitats. The fishermen were invited to speak at local events, where they shared their experience and emphasized the importance of coexistence with nature. The event also inspired increased interest in the unique ecosystem of the Russian Arctic. Schools and community groups began organizing discussions and activities to raise awareness about the impact of climate change on wildlife. The fisherman's story became a rallying cry for protecting the natural world and preserving the balance that sustains life in such harsh environments. When the polar bear climbed back onto the ice, the fishermen noticed its frail condition. Despite its imposing size, the bear appeared emaciated, its thick fur failing to conceal the outlines of its ribs. It was clear that the bear had been struggling to find food for some time, likely driven further out to sea in search of seals or fish as its natural hunting grounds diminished. The bear's weakened state was a sobering sight for the fishermen. Though they were relieved to have saved it from drowning, they knew the challenges it faced were far from over. Its condition was a stark reminder of the changing Arctic environment, where reduced sea ice forced polar bears to travel greater distances for food, often at the cost of their health and survival. After the bear's rescue, the fishermen faced a dilemma. They debated whether to leave the bear to its fate or attempt to assist it further. While feeding wildlife is generally discouraged to prevent dependency, the men were torn by the sight of the starving animal. They decided to leave a small portion of their fish catch on the ice, hoping it would help the bear regain some strength. This decision sparked a heated discussion among the crew. Some worried they might be interfering with nature, while others argued that human-induced climate change had already disrupted the bear's habitat. Ultimately, they agreed that their act of kindness was a small gesture to counterbalance the challenges humanity had inadvertently created for the species. News of the rescue spread rapidly, with videos and photos shared on social media platforms and news outlets worldwide. The fishermen were hailed as heroes, not only for their bravery but also for their compassion toward a creature often feared in Arctic communities. The footage of the bear's struggle and its eventual rescue evoked a strong emotional response from viewers. Environmental groups seized the opportunity to spotlight the plight of polar bears and the broader issues of climate change. The story became a rallying point, inspiring petitions, donations, and campaigns aimed at preserving the Arctic's fragile ecosystem. For many, the bear's rescue was a powerful reminder of humanity's ability to make a positive impact on nature when compassion and determination intersect. The event also caught the attention of scientists studying polar bear behavior and habitat challenges. Experts noted that the bear's presence so far out at sea was a troubling indicator of the species' growing desperation. Polar bears rely heavily on sea ice to hunt seals, their primary prey. As ice coverage diminishes, bears are forced to swim greater distances, leading to exhaustion, starvation, and increased mortality rates. Researchers used the story as a case study to emphasize the urgent need for action. They pointed out that while individual rescues are heartwarming, long-term solutions require global efforts to address climate change and protect the Arctic environment. The fisherman's story served as both an inspiration and a wake-up call for policymakers, scientists, and the public. The rescue inspired a wave of conservation efforts, with organizations using the story to draw attention to the critical situation of polar bears. Fundraising campaigns were launched to support Arctic research and conservation projects. Educational programs incorporated the fisherman's actions as an example of how individuals can make a difference, even in challenging circumstances. The story also led to increased international collaboration on Arctic preservation. Governments, NGOs, and local communities came together to discuss strategies for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating the effects of climate change. The fisherman's rescue became a symbol of hope and a reminder that small acts of kindness can ripple outward to create meaningful change. Years after the event, the fisherman's story remains a powerful testament to the interconnectedness of human and animal lives. The bear, though only one among thousands of its kind, became a symbol of resilience and the challenges faced by polar bears in a warming world. The fisherman's bravery and compassion continue to inspire individuals and communities to take action for the environment. Their story also led to a deeper appreciation for the Arctic's unique ecosystem. Documentaries, books, and articles chronicled the rescue, ensuring it remained a touchstone for discussions about conservation and climate change. Today, the fisherman's legacy lives on, reminding us that even the smallest gestures can have a profound impact on the world around us.